Today, everything I am doing to make this my leanest, strongest, and best summer body and best summer ever. And I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing and what I'm going to have all the men in my fat loss coaching program do as well to make it their best too. So if you're ready, let's get to it. I'm Roy Alexander, men's fat loss and body transformation specialist. Now, I live for three things: training my body to be leaner, stronger, and pain-free in my 40s, traveling the world to fire up my spirit, and trying new shit to expand my mind. But now, I'm helping men all over the world do the exact same. But it wasn't always like this. I lived a huge part of my life living paycheck to paycheck, bored, bitter, jealous of others, and wasting my time both inside and outside the gym. But I do not want that for you. So if it's your time to finally start living, as I say, leaner, stronger, longer, and a hell of a lot better, then my friend, welcome to Barbells to Buddhas. What's going on, guys? I'm Roy Alexander, men's over 40 body transformation coach and host of Barbells to Buddhas, the official place for guys just like you and just like me who want to start living leaner, stronger, longer, and of course, a hell of a lot better. Now, what does better mean for you? I have no idea, but I can tell you what it means for me. It means living my leanest, strongest, pain-free body at freaking 49 years old, traveling the world, doing fun shit with the family like kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, West Coast road trips, snowboarding, hot springs. We just planned one of those, actually. Muay Thai in Thailand, beaches in Mexico, yoga in India, maybe some Kali stick fighting there in Manila, while of course eating all the amazing foods and flavors I can while staying in my best shape, including today's meal right here. That is a cheeseburger chicken burger combo. That's right, guys. That's a 2-in-1. That's a double stack right there. And now listen, if you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and you're thinking there's no way that could be me, it absolutely can. I have coached clients all over the world from the 20s to the 50s, and all of them, every single one, has earned their best bodies and kept it. It can be done, and I'm telling you, I know, because we do it every single week. So do us both a favor, pack up that weak inner sauce monologue, that little whiny voice of failure and self-doubt, and take a deep nasal breath with me, and let's you and me get rocking into another fun and, more importantly, action-take episode of Barbells to Buddhas. Now, as of right now, I am recording this live on Facebook, and it is June the 1st. It is Sunday, June the 1st, and the summer is coming fast. In fact, I was outside a lot today. Last few days have actually been pretty sunny here in Vancouver. I cut the lawn, but the gyms, guys, they're filling up. They're filling up with everybody who's now thinking about getting their summer bodies. You should have probably thought about that back in March, but hey, what can you do? But saying that, there is a lot of stuff that you can still do if you want to get ready for this summer. Now, if you're 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight, hey, you know what? You're probably not going to be jacked by the summertime, but hey, you could be down right now by July. You could be down. I've had clients lose 30 pounds in 30 days. So think about that. June the 1st today, July the 1st, you could be down 30 pounds. I'm not saying everybody does that. Very few do that, but everybody can lose at least 10 pounds in that time. So today what I want to do, though, is I just want to cover the 8 things really that I'm doing, and there's a bunch of little points behind each one, but I'm going to make it as simple as I can. I don't want to go into a lot of science. I'm not going to quote studies. This is literally, this podcast is just about the actions that I'm doing. So number 1 is nutrition. And I'm just my meals dialed in. And I have what I use with my clients quite often, especially when we're doing our the 6-week No More Dad-Bod Kickstart. And that is what I call a dynamically boring system. And the word boring is probably not the right word to use, but what it is I basically have 2 to 3 breakfasts, about 3 lunches, and then I have a few more dinners, maybe 5 dinners in total. And within those 3 breakfasts, though, and that's where the boring part comes in. There's only 3 I eat, and I'll tell you what they are in a few minutes. But there is a world of flavors that you can mess around with. So let me just give you an example. One could be an omelet, for example. So one day I may have an omelet with some cheese on it. The next day I may have an omelet with some different vegetables. I may use a hot sauce one day, a ketchup one day, a sour cream one day, which actually we'll talk about that because I actually don't use sour cream. We have some swap outs, which we'll be talking about soon. But I change the flavors. You can do this with smoothies, right? So one day, one of the other meals at breakfast quite often is just a smoothie. So I have a chocolate peanut butter smoothie. There's berry smoothies. There's ones with bananas, one without. You can screw around with spices and sauces and flavorings, and you can have the same omelet taste like 3, 4, 5 different omelets, depending on really just how imaginative you are. So that's where the dynamic part comes in. Yes, they're the same meals, but every time it's a little bit different. Well, I shouldn't say every time, but quite often they're a little bit different. Now, that is what I call my dynamically boring system. Now, the next thing I have is just my timing, okay? There's no snack in here. Now, I do have what I call a protein boost, just because I am, if you don't know, by the way, I am 6'4", and I'm about 216, 218 pounds right now. So for me to get in like a gram of protein, say per meal, like that's like, and I'm trying to do like 1.2 grams, that's like 70 or 80 grams of protein per meal. The meals are just too big. So I have to have what I call protein boost. So instead of having snacks, I usually just have something like a protein shake. It's just going to be a scoop of whey in some water or some skim milk. Or sometimes if I make me order like a mocha, which we'll talk about a little later, I'll tell you how I do that as well. I throw a whole scoop of chocolate protein in that. So I don't do snacking, but I do protein bump ups, okay, or what I just call a protein booster. Now, when it comes to timing, how do I avoid snacks? It's very simple. Around most of the world, except here, snacking is not really a big thing. When I lived in Asia and Thailand, everybody just has, and this is why this full fasting thing and this, all these windows are just so stupid, because the rest of the world just calls it normal living. I have breakfast every day, and that's before I go to work. So there's breakfast at around 8 o'clock, 8:30, I have breakfast. Then around 1 o'clock is lunchtime, maybe 2, somewhere in that area. There's usually a protein boost in between there. And then dinner is like at 7 o'clock, and that's it. Those are your 3 meals, and there's a couple protein boosts. I usually have a little bit of a protein boost, maybe around 8 o'clock, and sometimes early. It just depends on the day. So basically, though, I try to keep my meals very much the same. I have breakfast within the same hour. I have lunch within the same hour. And I have dinner within the same couple hours every single day. And I just make sure those meals are decent and big. I said I'd give you a couple examples, of what I do for breakfast. So basically, when it comes to my breakfast, there's smoothies. So smoothies is one I have. Now, I'm not a big smoothie fan. Never really have been. I don't find them very filling. You got to put fiber and stuff in them if you're going to make them filling. You really do have to do that. We'll talk about that a little later too. But one is a smoothie, and mine is a chocolate smoothie for the most part. In it, I put in the this peanut butter powder. I'm giving you all my secrets before I even get to the other points, but I told you what it would be. But there's a smoothie with some peanut butter powder, some real cocoa, and some maca. I throw that in there as well. Ice and skim milk, usually for the most part. Actually, we do 1% here, I think. And then that's really about it. And I throw in an HCl, which is, or HCI. I don't know if it's HCl or HCI, but it's basically hydrochloric acid. Betaine, if you go to the nutrition store. And that's it. So that's my one meal. My next one is what I call my muscle McMuffin, which is because I love egg McMuffins. I love hamburgers too, hence why I'm having a hamburger here, but I love egg McMuffins. But again, an egg McMuffin's actually not bad, it's just not enough protein. So I will make one egg, and then I put in a whole bunch of egg whites, like a cup. And then I toast a sourdough English muffin, and I put on a slice of low-fat cheese, and that's it. So there's a little bit of sugar-free maple syrup on it, and that thing is just absolutely delicious. It's like 40 grams of protein, and it's so good, and it just tastes like a really bulked up McMuffin. Now, in the eggs, I will put in some spices, which I think we talk about that later too, but I do put turmeric in it, which gives it that it's a nice yellow omelet there, or I should say egg McMuffin. And that leads me to number 3, which is omelet. Typically, a lot of mornings is omelet. And then I also have these little turkey links I buy, these little turkey ones, and they're 2 grams of fat each. So I do 2 or 3 of them, depending on, just how I'm feeling for the day. But that's it. Those are my 3 breakfasts for the most part, and I don't stray from there. And that's it, nice and simple. I'm not going to go over every meal, but lunch, for the most part, quite often, I'm quite busy usually in the afternoon, and I kind of always forget to eat, so I have an alarm on my phone. So I just need something simple, easy, and clean. I do ground turkey, basically, I call it my shredded pie. And it's basically ground turkey on the bottom with some Italian spices, vegetables in the middle, just peas, carrots, corn, guys, nothing crazy. Just the basic, your real basic North American white guy frozen vegetables. And then on top, I do this mix of jasmine rice mixed with cauliflower rice, or sometimes just a little bit of mashed baby potatoes. And really, that's about it on top. And then sprinkle some brewer's yeast on there, which is, or not brewer's yeast, nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast, they're different. Nutritional yeast, which has this like cheesy flavor. And that's my lunch a lot of the days. There's some other ones I do, but for the most part, that's my lunch probably like 4 days a week. And then dinner, I'm a little more flexible on. But dinner, really, it just comes down to a very simple formula. And that formula is just meat and vegetables and a little bit of a starchy carb. And as I go on, I'll probably cut out the starchy carb a little bit. But it's just a very lean meat. And yeah, like I said, lean meat and vegetables. This leads me to number 2. And I've mentioned a couple I do. But number 2 is low-calorie swap-outs. So my wife's Asian, as you know that. She's from Thailand, so we eat a lot of Asian-y food. But what I do is, there's a couple different rices I'll make. First, I make one where we basically make the rice with some coconut oil. Then I put it in the fridge, and that turns into a, what do they call a starch, basically. It's I forget what the term is right now, but it makes it so you don't absorb as many calories. So that's one. And then I'll mix that quite often with cauliflowered rice. Now, you mix those two together, you can't tell. So if you mix like some jasmine rice with some cauliflower rice and 50-50, my kid's 9 years old and he's picky about his rice. He can't even tell. I sneak it in there all the time. So if you're going to go on there and you're going to say, oh, cauliflower rice tastes terrible. Yeah, it tastes terrible if you're just doing cauliflower rice, but I never do that. I make sure I mix it in. You won't even notice. I've started making more pastas lately, and you're like, well, pasta is like the exact opposite of getting jacked. Well, it is, unless you use konjac noodles. You see, konjac noodles are a Japanese yam, and basically an entire bag has like 10 calories, and it's all fiber. So they're basically no calories. And again, I mix it with a 50-50 whole grain pasta. Again, konjac noodles, again, they're not the best. They don't taste bad. They don't really taste like much. So I'll mix it with like a whole grain pasta, and then when you get in there, again, it's golden. You got 50% of the calories basically, yet you still have the same amount of food. When it comes to condiments, this is, I'll use hot sauces a lot, jerk sauces. A lot of people use jerk sauces, but if you get a good jerk sauce, like a Jamaican jerk sauce, it's like 5 to 10 calories for a whole tablespoon. I do a lot of 0% fat Greek yogurt, and that is in the replacement of sour cream, and it's also in the replacement of mayo. So you can switch those out with both. If you're using it for mayo, you'd want to sprinkle in a little bit of salt. But something that I just started making is like this Mexican dip, which again is ground turkey on the bottom, and then I take a big scoop, like a really big scoop of this 0% fat Greek yogurt, and I chop up half an avocado, and I just mash it all together. So basically I have like this avocado flavored sour cream, really. And I don't even eat the whole thing. And then I just put a little bit of layer of that. And then I put some refried black beans on top, which are all fiber. And then sprinkle it again with some of that nutritional yeast. But condiments, like pretty much hot sauce, jerk sauce. I buy sugar-free ketchup. I don't know if I mentioned that. So yes, sugar-free ketchup is a thing. And it's literally got 1/3 of the calories of regular ketchup. Now, if I'm having a roast chicken, I buy this thing called Swiss Chalet sauce, which is just a sauce you can have. And the entire package, I think, is like 50 calories. And I don't even think I use 1/3 of the package. I end up throwing a lot of it away, because you don't need much. It's just a dip, right? Mustard. I do a lot of horseradish. I love horseradish on beef. So we do a lot of horseradish, which again, is pretty much no calories. So there's a lot of condiments out there, guys. And then you can also do things like, instead of like covering all your meats and stuff in sauces, what you can do is you can marinate them instead. So in Thailand and stuff, my wife does a lot of marinating. So you get all that flavor. It's not a bunch of thick, sugary sauces. So that's something else you can think about. And when it comes to beverages, I am not anti-diet sodas. I really enjoy I'm going to have it right now. I really enjoy my A&W or any kind of root beer. Diet root beers are great. But my main go-to drink, honestly, is just soda water. I've talked about that. I got into that when I lived in Thailand. Used to be a Pepsi Max guy. And I won't get into that story. It's just too long. But soda water. And yeah, so you just want to make sure you're not drinking your calories, guys. That's the most important thing. I will say this for low-calorie swap outs. I do love mochas. like Starbucks mochas, any mocha you get at a coffee shop. So this is my order, and you can steal this if you want. So next time you go into Starbucks, and depending on how, I'll give you two versions, because there's like the super lean version, and then there's like just the regular lean version. So you go to Starbucks, you say, I'd like a tall, just do tall, you don't need a grande. So I'd like a tall mocha, please, half sweet, skim milk, extra hot. There you go. Now, if you really want to go like balls deep here and you really want to cut the calories out, you go, I'd like a tall mocha, half sweet with unsweetened almond milk. Unsweetened almond milk, the whole thing is like 30 calories in unsweetened almond milk. So you can cut the calories a lot by switching from just whatever milk they use to skim milk, and then even more from going from skim milk to unsweetened. That's the important part though. Make sure it's unsweetened almond milk. And you can do that at home too. So those are basically low calorie swap outs. I just look at everything I use and I say, hey, is there a lower cal version of this? Or could I perhaps maybe water it down a little bit or do something? Or if you have to, just use a little bit less. Like I said, those marinades are great. So you can use a barbecue sauce, put a little bit of water in it, then marinate the meat, and then again, you're just getting less calories. Now, speaking of it, the one thing I do is I make sure, and I kind of mentioned this before, but I keep my protein, my fiber, and I'd love to say my water, but not. I'm working on that. But my protein, my fiber dialed in, and I am really working on my water. Now, normally I suggest 1 gram of protein per pound of goal body weight. But when you're trying to get cut, you're going to probably, especially if you want to get cut fairly quickly, you're usually going to, what I do is I'll reduce the fats a lot, and then I'll reduce the carbs a little bit as well. So something's got, if you cut all those down, the calories go down too. So you have to put them up with something. So I put them up to about 1.2 grams per pound of protein. So in other words, just a lot of protein and very, very low fat. And I'm not saying low fat. I still make sure my fats are above, I think it's above about 30 grams a day, but might even be 25 some days, but I really do that. And again, I'm not doing anything crazy. I just buying lean meats, and I'm not really being careful, which I'll talk about later, the tools I use when it comes to my cooking. But one of the best things you can do, guys, is just cut out the fats. Honestly, and those people that are like, oh, cut out fats, it's all about fats, keto. No, it's not. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb. And I really believe that low fat is going to make a comeback just because there's so many calories in fat. And I'm not saying no fat. That's dumb too. You want to make sure your calories are dialed in, and then you keep your fats at a minimum of 20 to 30%, and you will be golden. That's the magic number. So if you're going to go on and go, oh boy, you should not eat fats. Yeah, pretty much did. I said really cut them down. Stop adding them anyways. Just there's enough fats almost in everything you eat for the most part. Even extra lean ground beef, guys, check it. There's a ton of fat. I don't even eat extra lean ground beef. I have to buy extra lean ground turkey because there's just so much fat in freaking extra lean ground beef. And then fiber. Just making sure I got fiber, a couple times a day. I put fiber in my smoothies, like I mentioned. I buy high fiber bread, high fiber buns, and then just supplementing fiber if I need it, getting lots of greens as well. Number 4 is exercise and movement. And not a lot changes on this. Just basically I'll do little things to just make what I'm already doing just a little bit better. So I weight train pretty much the same all year round. Doesn't really change. I'm weight training 4 days a week. I am doing a little bit more swimming. I started swimming lately just because my weight training, I am doing probably a little bit more volume. So I do enjoy the swimming. It's just something about the summertime and swimming just makes you feel good too. And it also just helps make your joints feel better. So I really enjoy the swimming. Cardio, I really up the cardio, but again, not from a weight loss point of view. It's just a great time of year to get outside. Walking, I do a lot of walking all year round, but now I'm walking in a heavy vest. I just throw on a heavy vest and I basically go, I'm not taking a walk without a heavy vest. The heavy vest helps burn, I don't know how many more calories. I don't want to say maybe double, but it's not that high, but it still helps you burn a lot more calories in the same walk. So that's a big one for me. And I just do more yoga as well. Started going back into yoga again. Just guys, anything again, just to be more active. Now, one thing I do a lot is I'm very militant on my steps, right? So earlier today, even though I went to the gym and everything today, I looked at my watch earlier and I was like, oh, only at like 3,200 steps or something. And that was at like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. It was like, because we went to Sunday, we went to a coffee shop the day. We sat in the backyard because it's sunny. And so we needed a few things to the grocery store. The grocery store is probably about 1.5 kilometers away. It's basically a 12 to 13 minute walk at a good pace. And I was like, well, I need like a case of A&W soda water and quite a few groceries. So it's going to be kind of heavy. I'm like, I could drive or you know what, I could just not be a bitch and I'll just basically farmer walk it home. And that's what I did. So walked, the 12-minute, 13-minute walk to the grocery store, walked around the grocery store, got back, and now I can happily say that I'm at 7,526 steps. My minimum goal a day is 7,000, but right now I am trying to hit 10. I just like 10. There's no real science behind it. 7's good enough. But I find it's easier to get lean the more steps you get in. So I'm just aiming for 10 if I can. So there you go. That's what I would do, guys. So get out there, start tracking your steps more, or start tracking your walking. If you don't have a step tracker, then the easiest thing to do is like this. If you go out at a decent pace, 10 minutes is equal to about 1,000 steps. So there you go. Do a 20-minute walk. That's 2,000 steps. Average. Say you average. The average person averages right now 4,500. So that's already going to be 6,500 if you just add a purposeful 20-minute walk that you normally don't take. Number 5 is supplements. Again, nothing crazy here. I don't use any fat burners or anything strange. I'm just sticking with my creatine. I mix that with citrulline because it just makes it work better. Citrulline is also really good. It's one of those things that just helps you with blood pressure. It's even been proven now to help you just live longer. So citrulline is something that not enough dudes over 40 use, and definitely not enough guys use it with creatine. The two to me, I don't use really creatine without citrulline. I'll use citrulline sometimes without creatine, but I'll never use creatine without citrulline just because it makes it work so good. Another one I've been using lately is called TMG. It's really good too. It's basically a creatine precursor, so it's been shown to help you get some muscle in there. I did run out of it, but I have to go get some more. It's not the biggest deal for me, but I'm trying it out. The next one's not a supplement, but all winter long I do a D with K2, but I'm making sure I'm getting lots of sun and lots of little bit of tanning in the morning there. I actually have sunblock on right now, just because I did get a bunch of sun in the morning. And then I was out in the afternoon walking to the mall. Like I said, it was about a 25-minute walk in the really bright sun. So I will put on some natural sunblock after that if I'm going to be out more, but I do make sure I get some really good sunlight, and I really do like to get a little tan on in the mornings. There's other supplements I'm going to take, but they lead me into number 6. So number 6 is sleep, and all year round, but especially this time of year, you got to be a little more militant on your sleep because that sun's out a lot longer, right? Right now it's almost 10 o'clock, and I got these. I don't have the best blinds in our house. I don't have any blackout blinds and stuff like I did in my old place. I got those slant ones, but they kind of let in a lot of light still. But sticking to a really good sleep schedule. So at 7 o'clock, all of our lights in the whole house go off. And then, we close the blinds as much as we can. There's some, I said sleep tech here, but I don't really have a lot of sleep tech right now. There's stuff I'm looking into. I do take some supplements. So number 1 is ZMA. I take ZMA all the time. So I just take ZMA, which is ZMA, which is zinc magnesium aspartate. It's great at helping you get a deep sleep. It's been proven to be a testosterone booster in your sleep as well. Newer one I've started using a little bit more is glycine. Glycine is an amino acid that you take before bed and helps drop your body temperature, which again helps you just get a deeper, better sleep. And those two seem to work really well together. Melatonin, don't really use them. I do have some blue blocking glasses, which I wear time to time, but for the most part, I don't need it. My sleep schedule, I can barely keep my eyes open after 9:30, and I like to get up early. So you get up early and you're good. I get up basically if I get up at 5:45, I've slept in for the most part. Except the weekends, I let myself sleep in till 6. But get your sleep dialed in, guys. 7 to 8 hours of good, solid sleep. I know you can do it. Number 7, this one's more psychology, but just outfits. Get some tight ass shirts. Get some shirtless. Some, what do they call it, tank top things. I like to just have some more gold clothing. I like to feel better as I'm going through my summer, and as you start getting more lean, you just start feeling better, and you can start wearing tighter and tighter stuff. So go get yourself some, and if you're not ready for tight yet, just go get yourself some good new gym clothes. It's nothing to go in the gym and you're in your old stinky t-shirts and stuff. And I'm not saying expensive. Definitely not expensive. Almost all my stuff is no name for the most part. A lot of my tank tops are just your typical wife beaters, and just black ones or gray ones. 3-pack for $12 or whatever. But go get yourself just some nice, decent new gym clothes. Go in the gym feeling good about yourself. It does make a big difference. Get a nice little couple walking or running outfits, Trust me, guys, that sort of stuff, the psychology and the way you feel does make a huge difference. And then number 8, I've started using a little bit more tools, or just making sure that I use tools. So the one I've got recently is a Hume body composition scale. I'm using that more just to track my body comp. It's actually quite good. It's pretty good overall. I quite enjoy it. A lot of those body fat machines or things aren't good, but this is the one you stand on. He's got your hands, and it seems to be calibrated pretty good. I'll say that. I'll give it some props because they deserve it. A step counting watch. Honestly, guys, this is not an Apple Watch. I know it looks like an Apple Watch, but it's not. I think this one cost me $36 on Amazon, and it's freaking awesome. I'll use my treadmill a lot. One thing I am looking at is a walking pad to go under my standing desk, which, speaking of, standing desks are a big one. I have standing desks everywhere. There's nowhere I work without a standing desk. Even if I go to coffee shops, I make sure I try to find ones that have a standing area so I can stand at a bar height sort of table or something, because I just can't sit for that long. I really can't. But a standing desk is a big one. And this one's even almost better in a way right now because it's broken. My standing desk broke in the standing position. I can't even sit on my stool because I'd be like way down here. I basically have to stand when I do this, including recording this. Yeah, and again, it just helps you get in your more movement, right? So some tools there, like the steps tracking, kitchen tools. I have, what do we got? Air fryer, really helpful. Made this hamburger. We got the barbecue rocking, of course. I am going to start using more slow cooking. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I got one of those 10-in-1 cookers out there we use as a rice cooker a lot, but it's also an air pressure cooker, which I do have to figure out how to start using that more, and a slow cooker. So get yourself some really good quality kitchen tools and some really good quality stainless steel or glass Tupperware. Like I said, I take lunches with me a lot every day. Guys, plastic is not a part of my life. We have no plastic Tupperware. We have no plastic cups besides my shaker cup. And even then, this week, I'm actually picking up a couple stainless steel shaker cups. Ditch the plastic nonsense, but particularly anything that you're going to be freezing or putting in the microwave. And that's a wrap, guys. Honestly, that is about it. But before I go, I would love to have you join me in my exclusive and private men's only Ditch Your Dad-Bod and Live Awesome online club, which is packed with awesome resources, contests, and it's also home of my No More Dad-Bod roadmap and my 6-week No More Dad-Bod Jumpstart. To find out how to get in, do not click away because I'm about to tell you. And until next time, guys, I'm here to help you live leaner, stronger, longer, and of course, a heck of a lot better. Guys, sick of your ever-growing belly, man boobs that challenge your wife's, a wet noodle sex drive, and those so-called normal aches and pains that they just say comes with being over 40? Well, screw that. Because with the right help, 40 can be the start of the epic life that you've been missing until now. Leaner, stronger, harder, longer, and an all-around hell of a lot better. And it all begins inside my private, free, men's-only No More Dad-Bod squad, home of my exclusive 6-week No More Dad-Bod Jumpstart that's helped men from all over the world forever ditch their dad-bods. And here's what's inside my free club. Workouts and exercises that actually work for men over 40, easy fat loss eating using my DB3 fat loss nutrition method, tips on natural testosterone and libido boosting, absolutely no needles needed, contests, prizes, guest talks, live Q&As, real advice for real men, busy dads, career-minded guys, high performers like me and like you, and a worldwide community of other awesome dudes along for the ride. Plus, you'll get access to both my 6-week No More Dad-Bod Jumpstart program and my VIP 3-day Ditch the Dad-Bod boot camps right here in Vancouver. How to get in? Simple, and I got 3 ways. Number 1, go to my coaching website at BARBELLS-TO-BUDDHAS.com and apply. 2, comment fat loss in the comments section and I'll drop you the link. Or 3, just smash the link in the show notes below to get instant access. And once you're with us, I can promise you this. Together, we will live leaner, stronger, longer, and a hell of a lot better. See you in the club.